Hello, it's your girl, Miss Liris Crosse, and I am finally sitting down so I can talk about Project Runway Season 22, Episode 7. I literally taped diaries, like behind the scenes diaries, but it may be, I don't know. I have to go back and see if I'm able to share it because of confidentiality reasons. And I haven't been able to share them in order. But with that said, let's jump ahead to this one because this one has created such a firestorm. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who has sent me messages of love, support, people who talked about how great I am as a model and what I mean to the culture, what I mean to fashion. I really, really appreciate it. With that said, I will say for this season, and even the past couple of seasons, it has been quite disappointing that I have ended in the bottom or sometimes looking up and being safe. This is the thing. I no longer, as a model, have to compete like we did. I was the last season of models who competed. That was on season 16, where I became one of the first plus models to ever win the model portion of Project Runway. And now, we go on. This is a gig that we're going on to do. But my thing is this: I always want my designer to win, no matter who it is, because I just feel like it reflects good on me. I like winning. Who doesn't? And you don't feel good when your designer goes home. So I always want them to win. Even if the outfit isn't good, I want them to at least be safe. I always try my best and give my all as well. Even if people have said, your face wasn't that happy. There's so many components that are going on during a runway shoot that the viewers have no clue of. Whether it's the light, smoke, how we're feeling in the outfit. It's so much that's going on. With that said, yes, I have been disappointed that I have been coming in and it was the bottom for the first one, which was episode 3. Then I think I came back again for episode 5 with excuse me. Episode 1 was with Chloe for the NFL challenge. We ended up in the bottom. Excuse me. And she went home. And then episode 5, that was a paper towel challenge for the Viva paper towels. That was with Anna. It was really fun working with Anna, but we ended up in the bottom. I was glad that she tried to take my curves into consideration. I think she just had some timing issues, and yeah, the white should have been wider. It kind of made me look flat. It was kind of interesting, but Anna was lovely to work with. I'm ready to walk into the room because I found out that my designer is Brian. And I had seen some of the stuff that Brian had done. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I think he'll do pretty good. And then, he's kind of a fuller man as well. So I was like, okay, maybe he should have me. He should get it. But all thick folk ain't kinfolk. That's what I'm going to say about that. And I walk into the room. I see the bubble tape that he has on the has on the mannequin. And I was just looking at it and I was like, okay, so what's going to go under that? And how is it going to be, like, how are we going to be able to show the body in a beautiful way? Because I just didn't feel like this bubble wrap, you're not going to be able to cinch it and make it, give it structure for the body. So I was glad when Christian told him, like, nah, and where his teammates were like, nah, you got to do something else, buddy. And I was like, yeah, you know, like, and I'm always trying to encourage. I was like, you know, he's like, I don't know what other materials, because most of the people are already using some of the other materials. I was like, well, just look around. Let's just look around, see what you can find. And let's see what you can create. And so he starts to look around and he finds these cords. So he starts to fit the cords, starts to, like, you know, play with the cords, trying to figure out what he wants to do with it. Then he says he's going to do some technique. I forget what culture it came from. And I was like, okay. But from what it looked like to me, it was basically like a halter, which was almost like a noose around my neck. And he was just kind of like tying them on a knot. And that's why on the show, you hear me say, I don't know if this is going to work, because it just looks like you have this around my neck and you just have wires hanging over a cord that's going around me. And he's like, oh, I'm going to, you know, like, I'm going to work on it tonight, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, leave it in his hands. I come back the next day and I'm seeing what I pretty much saw the day before. It's just more of them knotted on it. And I was just like, you had a whole day. Like, this is what you came up with? And this morning. And I was disappointed. Because I had basically already told him, you know, like, I don't think that this is going to work. And so they went out. They, you know, he did the knotting, and then we go off, you know, to get our hair and makeup done. And I come back in. And now it is like spray painted. Like you'll see on the episode, Jeffrey helps him to spray paint it. They come back inside. Mind you, this is the day of it's being spray painted, and it's all these cords. When I tell you, I put it on and I'm like, I'm looking at it. And I'm just like, I don't know about this. And let me be very, very clear to everybody that is watching. I do not, it is a rule of mine, I do not offer advice to a designer unless they ask, or unless it feels like it is really going to put me in a very uncomfortable situation or a bad light. And so the fact that he made that piece and he was just going to have me go out there in my bra and panties, I was perplexed. I was confused that how is this a design? Like, you have the opportunity to design something for me, And I'm pretty much one of the, or like the most well-known model in Project Runway history. And I am known for my prowess on the runway. And I'm thankful for that. And I love the fans for that. So it just felt thoughtless. It felt like he just had no idea. It felt careless. It felt lazy. And I truly, my spirit in that moment was broken. I think it was a onslaught of what I had also been through the past couple of seasons, of a lot of stuff being in the bottom, or safe, or a designer went home, which that never feels good to me. Although it's their look, but I just, whatever designer I'm with, I feel like we are in a partnership for that day or that challenge. So that never feels good. But this just felt so thoughtless. It felt like it had no je ne sais quoi. It felt like, like a lot of people said, it looked like brown licorice, or like a bunch of tentacles just hanging. Like, it didn't feel intentional. That's the word I'm looking for. It didn't feel intentional at all. And that grieved my soul. So with that happening, and feeling the weight of the outfit, the look of the outfit, seeing all the other ladies in the workroom looking interesting and fab, their designs look intentional, fun. Everything was hitting me hard, and I had never ever felt like this on a job, and so I was feeling myself about to cry. So I stepped out of the workroom. I went into the hallway off to the side, and I was literally trying to push my tear ducts back. I was like, trying to push my tear ducts back, because I did not want to cry in the workroom. I did not want to cry on camera. I just didn't want that attention. But it was just like my heart sank, because it just felt like, I just felt like a forgotten soul. It did not feel good. And I'm starting to cry, and then I think it was maybe like Jesus that was walking by and saw me, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And so he's asking me what's wrong, and I'm trying to keep it together. And then, of course, one of the camera guys finds out that I'm crying off to the side, so then the camera guy is filming me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think it was some other designer came over, and I think Brian may have came out there where I was. And we were like, hey, like, you should really try something else. So when you see me in the workroom before he is taping me up, when we were out in the hallway, we were like, my thing was, why don't you do something really intentional with all these cords? I was like, I'm a plus girl, but I'm hourglassy. Why don't you design the cords so it is like a Hervé Leger dress? And he seemed like he was open to it. And then I think there was something about, well, what would I put under it? Because I don't think I could use a fabric or something of that sort. Now, I did not find this out till recently, but one of the designers had saw that the trash bag that he had used to put on my body, and you'll see on the video, there's like a cord, you can see it kind of going like this way, because we were trying to start to do the Hervé Léger thing. But that plastic garbage bag that he taped on around me was off the floor. So that was a thing. I had no clue that that was the garbage bag he had on the ground that he was spray painting some of the cords on. But if you go back to the video of this episode, you can see there is some spray paint on the plastic bag that I'm wearing. And he's like, well, like, we don't have that much time. What am I going to do? And so that's when the whole taping thing started. So he starts to tape me up. And truthfully, in my heart of hearts, in that moment, I almost didn't really care about the fact that he was taping me up, because my thing was, I did not want to go out there in my bra and panties in the way that he was trying to send me out there. And it wasn't intentional, and it wasn't fab. I'm not afraid to show the body. I show the body when I go out, people see I be dressing. So it's not that. So he's taping me up, and I'm just like, oh my God. The tape was really tight. Then Christian came in, and he's like, oh, no. No, we're not doing that. No. And so next thing you know, that stopped. And Christian told him, you needed to figure out a way that you can sew that closed. So he cut me out of it, and then he went and tried to sew it together to put a zipper in it. Yeah. So another thing was, he didn't use his time wisely. He was still trying to work on that bubble wrap cape. And I believe he had said that he had spent time still trying to do that. So that was another reason why it was like my main piece wasn't really complete or done. Yeah. I cannot recall if if he was able to put the zipper in it. But now the time was dwindling, and we had to go out to get ready for the runway. Some people said I looked grumpy on the runway, or I wasn't happy. That was because I was crying. And for a while, I could not stop crying because I just felt so defeated. And the reason why I felt defeated is because I know that there are a lot of women who watch the show because of me, because they want to see somebody do a design on a fuller body. I represent for them. I also represent for change in the fashion industry. And so the fact that it felt like these designers weren't getting it right as far as making something for me, but he, especially on this day, was not being thoughtful enough to really do something that did me justice. I felt like it was letting plus size women down. I also felt like it just looked bad for plus size women, curvy women, because I remember, you know, my breakout season was season 16. And I remember when they had first announced that they were going to use plus models for the week-to-week designer challenges. And there were people saying, boo, it's not going to look good. The designer's going to mess up. It's going to be horrible. And then people who actually commented like that came back and commented and said, you know what? You really stole the show for me. You were amazing. You did a great job. You made me look at plus models in a different light. And that's why I was saying, like, how this was going, it was not showing plus models in a great light. It wasn't showing plus size women in a great light. Yeah, so all those people that were like, I don't want to see that, you know, like, or this is, or that was another thing. It's like if a designer goes home because he didn't make something for a plus size model, then some of the Project Runway fans will be like, this is why I don't like them making stuff on the plus models, because they never get it right, da 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 da. But yeah, some of them must up on the straight size models too. So there's that, you know. This is the thing: 62% of women in the United States wear a size 14 to 16. So when you have people who are just like, they don't want to see it on the plus size models, that means you don't want to see it on the average woman, and that's ridiculous. Also, I felt like next year will make 10 years since season 16, and there has been so much education and technology. There is no reason that people shouldn't have enough creativity or design expertise to be able to create something on a fuller body, period. So anyway, he gets me dressed. He realizes he doesn't have time to do the Hervé Leger thing, so he puts on the original piece that he made, which you all saw on the runway. The spray paint was not finished drying. It wasn't finished drying. Keep that in mind. They put it on. I am in 4 to 5 inch heels. Very high. This piece, and it's interesting to me because I wrote this note down. It says, it was a shocker to Brian that I felt uncomfortable in the piece, and he felt it looked spectacular. How? Jeffrey, who helped him to spray paint it, he picked it up and said it was very heavy. Heidi said it was very heavy. If you go back and listen to her on this episode, she said it was very heavy, so we could not have her come back out here in it. The PAs who were helping me backstage literally had to take the tentacles and place them on chairs or stands on the side of me to try to alleviate some of the pressure. They said, I said, how much you think it weigh? The guy said, at minimum, this weighs 50 pounds, at minimum. So I have a halter dress that is around my neck that has a loop of a whole bunch of cords hanging. The spray paint is not dry. It's pulling from my neck because it's a halter dress that he designed. And it's weighing about 50 pounds on my neck. Y'all, I'll just say, like, put 2 and 2 together. Not dry paint pulling on my neck with rubber cords. My neck and my back have not been the same since. If you get what I'm saying. If you know, you know. Ain't been the same since. Um, with that said, I have never gotten a call, nor a text, nor a DM on Instagram from Brian saying, hey, I know that wasn't the best for you. I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. How are you coming along? Nothing. He's never reached out. Mind you, Chloe from episode 3 from the NFL challenge, she was kind enough to reach out to me because our challenge didn't go that great. And she said, you know, would you be open to us doing, redoing the NFL challenge? And we did. And if you look on my Instagram page, you will see our redo of the NFL challenge. And we slayed that. That shoot is a banger. Came out really, really hot. But yeah, it's just something about people's character, caring enough to check on somebody. Most of the time, after a season is wrapped, the models were following the designers are following us back, because it's like, you know, they've added to the family, to the Project Runway family, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, let me get back to the runway. As you all saw, in all the years that I have done Project Runway, I've never slipped on a runway. I went out there because we do, you know, we go out there to walk on the runway. Literally, the cords were so long, they were not cut to a level that was conducive for me to really rip the runway like I needed to. So yeah, I literally slipped twice. I felt embarrassed because I'm walking in front of one of my model gods, like model icons, Iman. And I could not believe that I slipped in front of her. But I think she had compassion and understanding because they just knew that something was off and something was wrong. And as much as I tried to put on a brave face, because look, I could have said, I'm not going out there, right? And then guess what? I guarantee you there would have been Project Runway fans who would have said, oh, she thinks she's the diva. She thinks she's too good. Just because she doesn't like our outfit, she didn't go out there. I go out in whatever the designers give me. And again, like I said, I always want them to win. Always. Always. I really tried to give it my best, but that day was just a very hard day. Hard emotionally, but also hard physically. Imagine you have a 50-pound dress around your neck, as a halter dress around your neck. And then you're on 4 or 5 inch heels. And then you're on a glossy runway. And then the tentacles are so long that they're tripping up your shoes. Yeah. Wasn't ideal. That just, it really made it a hard day. When I say I was uncomfortable, I was beyond uncomfortable. And my thing was trying to make sure that I did not slip and fall. And I really tried to do my due diligence. I think a lot of times people just want to be like, models just need to not have an opinion. They just need to shut up and go walk the runway. And truthfully, those are some of the reasons why models have gone through emotional, physical, and financial abuse, because people expect us to just deal and take whatever is given to us. And I wanted to give context to the people out there and just let you know the fact that I even made it to the runway that day says a lot. My outfit was hella heavy, super heavy. The fact that I still sucked it up and said, let me go out there. The fact that I felt emotionally defeated, not respected, and I still went out there. That says a lot. I thought that Brian was going to do a good job, but he just didn't. And unfortunately, that was the experience that I had to have. And, you know, hopefully there are no more garbage bags off the floor that are being taped to me with 50-pound dresses around my neck that are spray painted minutes before I have to go down a runway. I'm just still mentally blown that he really said he was shocked that I was uncomfortable, and that he really thought that was spectacular. That is just, I cannot believe that he even thought that. How? Where'd he do that at? With that being said, I'm trying to look over my notes now. To this day, I've still have never gotten a DM from him saying, I hope you're okay since our challenge. Nothing. So yeah, I wish him and all his parish training the best. One last thing. Please make sure you're following me on social media. My Instagram is Liris C, Lirisc. My TikTok is Liris Crosse, LIRISCROSSE. So Iris with an L, Cross with an E at the end. That's for my TikTok. And subscribe here on my YouTube. Also, get a copy of my book. The foreword is written by Tim Gunn, and it's called Make the World Your Runway, Top Model Secrets for Everyday Confidence and Success. And if you need a confidence boost or you need a life makeover, this is the book for you. I take stories and tips from my modeling life and I expound upon it in the way that a life coach does, so you can make the world your runway any day. It is available on Amazon. And with that said, you know, go make the world your runway and make sure that you are watching Project Runway to see if someone will finally get it right with Liris.